60 the beginning of the voyage of Paul, destined for Rome. And, as it was determined that navigate to Italy, they delivered Paul and some other prisoners to a centurion by the name of Julius, of the court Augusta. And, embarking on the ship of Adramítio, which was about to sail on demand from the ports along the coast of Asia, we went to sea, being with us Aristarchus, Macedonian from Thessaloniki. The next day we came to be, and Julius, treating Paul with kindness, allowed him to go to see his friends and receive from them the necessary care. Acts 271-3. Gospel of Acts of the Apostles chapter 27, verse 1-3. Dear brothers, Paul begins his journey to Rome. He left Caesarea, as a prisoner, and being accompanied by other prisoners, was being led by a centurion named Julius, and a few more soldiers who were escorting the prisoners. On this trip, she started a few days before the winter, and when they started the trip, it was all right. The ship, besides carrying people, was also a cargo ship, and carried wheat, food, was with its capacity of maximum load, fully occupied. Telling them, gentlemen, I see that the trip will be with breakdown and much loss not only for the cargo and the ship, but also for our lives. But the centurion gave more credit to the pilot and the owner of the ship than to the things that Paul said. And not being the port very much to winter, the more of them were of the opinion that if they went to the sea to see if they could somehow get to Phanes, a port of Crete that looks to the northeast and to the southeast, there to winter. Acts 2710-12. Gospel of Acts of the Apostles chapter 27, verse 10-12. They had already traveled for some time, and had arrived at a place called Good Ports, near the city of Lace. They began to notice that the winds had changed, and that port was not an ideal place to spend the winter. So they decided to continue to reach Phoenicia, in the port of Crete, to face the winter there. And continued the journey. However, it came over a great storm, and they had many difficulties already at first, after they left the place Good Ports, which they collected, using then the means available to restrict the ship. And, fearing that they would be thrown into the Sirte, struck the devices and let themselves be carried. As we were violently flogged by the storm, the next day they began to jettison the load to the sea. And on the third day, with his own hands, they launched the ship's apparatus. Not appearing for many days neither sun nor stars, and being we still hit by great storm, fled us after all the hope of being saved. Having had them long without eating, Paul, standing in the midst of them, said, Gentlemen, you should have listened to me and not have left Crete, to avoid this failure and loss. And now I urge you to have good cheer, for there will be no life lost between you, but only the ship. Because tonight I have appeared an angel of the God of whom I am and to whom I serve, saying, Fear not, Paul, it matters that you appear before Caesar, and behold, God has given you all who sail with you. So, gentlemen, have a good spirit. For I believe in God that will succeed as I have been told. Acts 2717-25. Gospel of Acts of the Apostles chapter 27, verse 17-25. This storm lasted more than 10 days, where they saw neither the sun nor the stars. And the ship was adrift, they didn't know where they were, and they started to lighten the ship's weight, throwing utensils, things they didn't need at sea. And just ahead, they had to place some of the cargo, also in the water. While done, Paul prayed to all who would eat something, saying, It is already today the 14th day that you wait and remain fasting, having not proved anything. I therefore urge you to do something, because that depends on your safety. Because not one hair will fall from the head of any of you. And, having said this, he took the bread, gave thanks to God in the presence of all, and, leaving it, began to eat. And then they all got cheered up and they also ate. We were all in the ship 276 souls. After satiated with the food, they began to relieve the ship, dropping the wheat in the sea. When it dawned, they did not recognize the earth. They were, however, divisioning a cove with a beach, and they consulted whether they could strand the ship. Releasing the anchors, they left them at sea, leaving at the same time the moorings of the rudder. And, hoisting to the wind the sail of the bow, they headed to the beach. Giving, however, In a place where 2 chains were found, they stranded the ship. And the bow, jamming, stood still, but the stern was undone with the force of the waves. So the opinion of the soldiers was to kill the prisoners so that none of them could escape, escaping swimming. But the centurion, wanting to save Paul, hindered this attempt. And he ordered that those who could swim were the first to throw themselves into the sea and reach the earth. And that the rest would save themselves, some on planks and others in any wreckage of the ship. So they all came to earth safe. Acts 2733-34. Gospel of Acts of the Apostles chapter 27, verse 33-34. There were several days without eating, and Paul said, "Let's eat, to renew our forces, because the ship will be lost, but none of us will die, and not a hair will get lost from your head." And the day dawned, they saw a cove, and they understood that it was an island, and they decided to strand the ship, and they all started to leave the ship, each using something, like saving lives, like pieces of wood, planks. Everything was lost, however, the 276 people, all saved themselves, and being all saved, discovered that they were on the island of Malta.
Sopra Espírito, levanta os caídos, restaura as feridas, dores antigas, vem pra curar. Sopra Espírito, trazendo vida, junta aos pedaços, já ouço o ruído do teu agir. Faz levantar do vale, põe de pé os ossos secos com teu poder, vem restaurar da multidão de caídos. Faz, Senhor, um povo forte marchar sobre a terra. Quando o vento soprar, quando o vento soprar, tudo vai se mover, tudo volta ao lugar. Quando o vento soprar, quando o vento soprar, tudo vai se mover, tudo volta ao lugar. Quando o vento soprar, sopra Espírito, trazendo vida, junta aos pedaços, já ouço o ruído do teu agir. Faz levantar do vale, põe de pé os ossos secos com teu poder, vem restaurar da multidão de caídos. Senhor, um povo forte marchar sobre a terra. Quando o vento soprar, quando o vento soprar, tudo vai se mover, tudo volta ao lugar. Quando o vento soprar, quando o vento soprar, tudo vai se mover, tudo volta ao lugar. Quando o vento soprar, quando o vento soprar, tudo vai se mover, tudo volta ao lugar. Quando o vento soprar, quando o vento soprar, tudo vai se mover, tudo volta ao lugar. Quando o vento soprar, quando o vento soprar, tudo vai se mover, tudo volta ao lugar. Quando o vento soprar.